There we go. I've hit a new low. Frankly, I can't remember the last time I was lighter than 240, which not yet. Not yet. Still 241.5, but that is pretty much matching the trajectory for the rate of weight loss that I'm kind of aiming for. So, meal one, right after I woke up, edited the video for, well, I guess you would have seen it yesterday if you're watching all these. But meal number one, not exactly a meal at all. Just a fucking 2 liter of flat diet soda, which frankly, I think it's way too much fucking hate. I think it would be way crazier for somebody to drink even 2 cans of a regular full sugar soda than it would be to drink a full 2 liter of a diet soda. Because it's like the actual effect on your blood sugar, your insulin release, and like your glycemic index and everything else, basically negligible with the diet soda. There is a little bit of like a kind of psychological reaction because your brain knows that you're drinking something sweet, so it kind of has a little bit of an indirect pathway, but that's not something I would fucking worry about, right? The highlighted point here is tons of fluids instantly in the day, plus, you know, they taste sweet. And if you're a fucking baller, then drink a 2 liter of water, splash some electrolytes in there as well, just to get a full kick out of it, and then, drink that. But for me, this makes it a bit easier. Plus, it kind of quenches my fucking sweet tooth. I could tell these last couple of days I'd really been kind of sort of fiending for treats. So now the cupboard is full of like, oh man, it's like diet ginger ale, like cranberry, like some red Fago, some everything, all sorts of whatever. Which I mean, it's not like it's the same sort of sensation as drinking or as like scooping out some Ben and Jerry's or like having some sweets or something. But it's a good little stopgap. So fasted cardio is something I end up doing when I'm dieting down, but it's not because I think fasted cardio in general is like magic, and it's like, oh, I'm going to burn more fat when I'm fasted because I don't have any other. There's no other food in my system. I mean, there's probably a point to look into there, but nothing major, right? Regardless, throughout the entire day today, I'm still going to eat the same amount of food, do the same amount of cardio and working out. The order shouldn't really matter that much in terms of the overall effect, right? Now, in terms of how easy it is for me to stick to these kind of limitations, that's where I like waiting until, I mean, maybe even noon, sometimes even 1 for that first meal, just because, now instead of having to spread like 2,400 calories throughout the entire day, right? Like 8 o'clock all the way till, I mean, probably midnight. That's what? That's like 16 full hours. That's less than that's barely more than 100 calories per hour, right? It just sucks. So if I wait to start eating and have a shorter eating window, like if I don't, it's not that hard to put off meal number one in the beginning of the day until noonish. So then, instead of 16 hours, I got 12 hours, so I can eat more food at once when I do. And that just ends up being easier for me, right? But it's always kind of a middle ground because somebody might hear that and they think, okay, well, if I wait until noon, then I won't be able. It'll be easier to eat less. Oh, maybe I should just keep waiting. Maybe I shouldn't eat till 5 o'clock. Maybe I shouldn't eat till 6. Maybe I should just do like a full day fast, and it can be a bit of a downward spiral. So there is a certain balance between, because you really you're limiting your food intake. Like I'm getting signals from my stomach all day, like, Sam, you should probably eat more food than you're eating right now. But I'm not completely ignoring those signals, and I'm balancing out, making sure the diet is at least making me feel reasonably full and reasonably well fed and energized. So when I go do legs later, cardio right now, come back, I still have enough fuel to keep this engine running. But I'm gonna keep sipping on this on the way to the gym. So let's just go do 30 minutes of cardio and do a little pose down check-in. All right, so some time has passed, but we're still pretty much in the exact same freaking spot. This was actually going to be rice, canned chicken, hot sauce, a little bit of fat-free mayonnaise, kind of just for uh, added, really just added moistness. But after a little bit of a Rocky-based fiasco, right, the black cat, who has a little bit of a tendency of taken food off of our plates turned into tuna and rice. So that fat-free mayonnaise really did come in clutch. Because the tuna is not it doesn't get treated so nicely. The canned chicken, depending on the brand, you'd have no idea it wasn't just, cooked before. Because it's not just super dry and everything else. So not the most appealing looking bowl, of course, but for 550 calories, very filling, right? So that's what I'm aiming for. I want this ratio to be balanced of not eating too many calories per meal, right? But being full, So I want both of these to be in the green. So if I eat, 550 calories of ice cream, I'd probably feel kind of good. It's sweet, feels satiating. I would like it, but, or no, it's this one. I would like it. I don't remember, but very dense. And I'm just going to end up being hungry again in like maybe 30 minutes because it would have spiked my blood sugar, spiked my insulin in response. Then it's going all over the place. I'd probably want to take a nap because I'd feel extra lethargic. And it just doesn't make sense. So dieting wise, making these meals very plain, very, really just simple. You can't really beat that word. That's what I'm aiming for. So, even though it may look like a gruel-based diet, definitely works, right? So this bowl for 550 calories, and specifically, if I can pull this up, 40 grams of carbs, 14 grams of fats, and 66 grams of protein at 550 calories. That's freaking perfect, right? And then look at these progress bars as well. If we'll, see how they're all pretty even, right? If it were, meal number 2 and my protein bar was at, 25%, I only ate 66. The fats was at 50%. I already ate 30 of them, or 30 more of them. And the carbs was all the way to the max. Like I've eaten my daily allotment, 150, and it's only, 3 o'clock in the evening. That means all the rest of my meals, even though I might be under my calorie limit, now have to only come from protein. And I don't know if you know this, but after you finish a hard leg day and, you are hungry, if you just eat a bowl of like 98% ground or 98% lean ground beef, it's not the most filling thing in the world, right? You're hungry for carbs. You're physically depleted and you want to replenish them. So that's what I kind of want. The progress bars from 0 to my daily allotment of proteins, fats, carbs to increase basically together, because I don't want to completely max out my carb intake and then have to do no carbs for the rest of the night later. Right? It just sucks. So balancing the meals out like this, at this size, puts me at about 4-ish. One of these will be kind of a bigger meal, but 4 real meals per day. So I'm gonna probably take a nap. Yeah. This guy would love to eat everything in this bowl right now. You are freaking crazy. But I'm probably gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I already edited the video. But either way, let's just cut to meal number 2. All right, I didn't mean to make the desk the freaking setting for every meal, but reasonably fitting. Honestly, a ton of meals go down right here, so it kind of it's not out of place or anything. But post-workout, quick pit stop to Chipotle, and a lot of it's already gone. I've already eaten basically a good chunk of it, but I kind of finesse my way into getting double steak. So just by eye, I guess I don't know exactly. I didn't weigh it, but what I would guesstimate to be around 40-ish, 45 grams of protein. And usually with the protein, I like to underestimate. And with anything carbs, fats, I want to overestimate. Because, if I had a bowl of 100 grams worth of carbs of rice, and I said, that looks like 50 to me, right, 50, that's putting me in the red, right? I'm overeating. I'm eating more calories than I'm accounting for. And, I know a calorie is a calorie, but if I eat an extra 50 grams of protein, it's not going to have such an immediate, powerful effect on my weight or my fullness, just because it's not just a quick energy source or like glycogen filling food, like obviously carbs are, or even kind of fats are in a way, sort of, I think. But either way, I'd rather guess too little protein and too much carbs and fats. So by looking at it, the corn, tomatoes, everything else added, I estimated it to be about 30 grams of carbs. Actually, no, I didn't write 30 grams. I said 25 grams of carbs because there's no rice, no nothing. This was just lettuce, steak, steak, the corn salsa, the red salsa, and then I think spinach too. I don't remember. Maybe, no, yeah, just lettuce. But either way, no direct carb source here. So I did kind of add a little bit because I put some barbecue sauce onto it, which I did weigh out, right? And it ended up being about a serving and a half, 16. So this whole meal puts me from earlier in the day to right now at, holy crap, I'm way behind. I get to have a really big meal next at 1,293 or, or no, 1,193 calories, 100 grams of carbs, 40 of fats, 106 of protein. So actually a little bit behind on my protein intake so far. But what that means is my next 2 meals that I eat before bed get to be a bit bigger. Good for me. I'd rather have more calories later in the day than have to scrimp and have like a tiny dinner and then go to bed feeling hungry. But either way, that's sort of the post-workout meal. I'm sure I'll go have a treat or something. Oh, and that was excluding a little 15 grams of carbs worth of like a kind of a semi-dried like strawberry mush, or I think it was like a strawberry apple kind of like fruit bar. May as well have been like a fruit stick or something like that. But I'm still going to count that too. I'm going to count all these calories from every source that they're coming from because they all add up, right? If you were, I mean, when you look at like if you were an accountant, you're not going to let any of this, fucking ins and outs get lost in translation. You want to know where everything is going at all times to make sure that your system, I guess that'd be the system of a business, right, is moving properly. And objectively, the same approach can be applied to your diet. Obviously, you're not going to have any returns on your carb intake or whatever else, but it really is as simple as you need this many calories per day to stay the same weight. So if you eat this many per day, on average, obviously there's fluctuations, but on average, if you plot your weight over time, guess what? You're going to be the same dude. You're going to weigh the same. You're going to be the same size. You might main gain a little bit, but even then, I'd probably argue that main gaining is really just a mild surplus, very mild, but still a surplus nonetheless. So it's like, it's just this simple. Now, of course, it can be overcomplicated, right? Because you can look at your training frequency, your cardio, your daily steps, the types of food that you're eating and everything else. But when it comes down to it, if you boil it down to its most basic components, right? Like if this is all dieting right here, cardio, calories, weight training, rest and recovery, hydration, carb intake, glycemic index, your insulin sensitivity, the amount of protein you're eating. If you boil all of that down, then I am not joking when I say it's just this right here. If you eat more than this bar, which is the amount of food you need per day to stay the same weight, you're going to start gaining weight. And if you eat less, you're going to start losing weight. Now, when you couple that with weight training, you're going to gain muscle, gain a little bit of fat too. It's just the nature of bulking. Or you're going to maintain most of your muscle and peel off body fat, right? So there's no way around it. And the sooner that you can get a good grasp on that, the better, I feel. I mean, frankly, my lifts have, not even my lifts, but my general like performance is totally improved from now understanding like, what kind of fuel I'm actually putting into my system. And that's not like, oh, now I'm a total health nut. I'm eating all, I'm going Liver King carnivore. No, I'm just saying that there is a specific utility to the calories that you're eating. And that's just another variable, which if you can get control of, and if you go so far as to say you get at least maybe approaching a mastery of, then you can work it in a way where it works for you, So for me to go into dieting blindly, or if I have some kind of hype where I'm like, okay, I want to get lean, I want to start trimming down, but I don't think about like, okay, tracking my food, counting all this shit on a macro tracker, getting a food scale, learning about like, okay, I probably shouldn't have that many simple sugars if I'm dieting down because it's going to throw my blood sugar all over the place and in turn throw my appetite all over the place, right? I mean, if every meal I had was a 50-gram bag of Skittles for the 150 grams of carbs I'm eating per day, so I guess 3 of them, then yeah, I mean, I would still be eating in a deficit. But subjectively for me, right after I eat that, it's not going to make me feel full at all. Zero fiber, like the amount of content just immediately gets dissolved. And it's like, it's not even a food per se, it's more of a snack. It has caloric value, but when I'm dieting down, that's when I'm actually eating in like a bodybuilder style. I'm talking regular bowls of normal ass plain foods, oatmeals, rice, potatoes, eggs, steak, ground beef, chicken, canned chicken, tuna, everything else. Like the simpler, the better. Because if you're, I mean, even if I had like 50 grams of carbs worth of strawberries right in front of me, that would be like, I don't know the math, but like a pound. So even having like, sweets in the, I guess you could say like the natural unprocessed food side of things, you could still eat a ton of them and it would actually make you feel pretty full because all these foods have a good ratio of calories to filling effect, right? For me to eat, I mean, the 2 meals I've had so far today, this post-workout meal and the pre-workout meal, that's less calories than a tub of Ben and Jerry's. And if I had a legit tub of like, cookies and cream, which historically doesn't take me that long to basically, teleport into my gullet, it wouldn't make me feel as full, right? These more plain, real meals are where it's at. Now, when you're bulking up, you get a little more leeway, right? Because for me, at least, if I'm eating a ton of food throughout the day, then it's almost like an inverse kind of relationship. Because now I'm eating so much food and I always have food in my stomach at all times. It's like having a ton of carbs all throughout the day sort of stabilizes my blood sugar because it's almost always in a semi-elevated state because I'm always eating something. So it's kind of a two sides of the coin here of bulking up and cutting down. But what I was about to say was if you're trying to bulk up, I don't see the problem in throwing some sweets in there, man. I mean, if I'm at the grocery trip for like a bulking whatever, I'm talking fatty steaks, regular ground beef, like plain regular stuff. Like, but throw in some cereal, throw in some freaking cinnamon toast crunch. If you're, I honestly I think I'm starting to like golden grams a little more, but it's been like months since I've had a bowl of that. But either way, having some more treat style foods, I don't see a huge problem there. You're trying to gain weight. You're trying to eat a lot of food. So the argument when anybody's going to dog on you for fucking, not even dirty bulking, but literally just having something that's not a chicken, rice, broccoli, then frankly, I think that guy is just a little bit limited in his mindset because that's not the only way to do it. If you've got a solid grasp of weighing everything, knowing how this food is going to make you feel fullness wise on your day by day basis, then, I mean, if I was really fiending for it, I could probably maybe take a few more hours off of the eating window tomorrow. Have like one pre-workout meal before chest, which right now I don't need to be totally full and carbed up. I'm already depleted anyway. If I only have 50 grams of carbs cumulatively before the workout, it's not going to bother me. I'm still going to have a good lift. So if I really wanted, I would say, screw it, man. I want a crazy McDonald's order. I want 2 double cheeseburgers. I want a spicy chicken sandwich. I want a large fry. And I want some chicken nuggets. Now, it's probably not ideal. It's probably going to make my stomach pretty upset too. But calorically, I can throw something that crazy into the mix and not be thrown off my leanness trajectory. But when I say that kind of stuff, that's for an example, right? That's not like an all the time kind of thing. Like when I said the shit about, somebody could eat 6 vanilla plain glazed donuts every day. Or they could, no, what did I say? I said something. If somebody ate 1,500 calories a day worth of straight Krispy Kreme, right? Let's say you got a 6-pack. I think that's more like 900. But either way, let's say 1,500 calories of straight donuts. If you're a 200-pound dude and you work out every day, let's imply that's the situation, you're burning more than that 1,500. right? You're burning this much. You're going to burn all this off as energy, and you're going to get leaner. Now, that is not a good approach. Of course, obviously, you want to eat regular kind of foods and be well fueled and not totally throw off your gut biome. But I'm just saying the power of making sure you're in this deficit or in this surplus is so much that it can counteract, maybe eating things that aren't the most performance oriented when it comes to your food intake, because the calorie is probably the most powerful fucking thing apart from your training. Yeah. Okay, just realized I accidentally muted the mic when I took that thing off my head. But if I didn't say it already, I don't remember exactly when I cut out. But actually, I think all I said was I'm going to play on my phone for a bit before the next meal. Well, either way, let's cut to whatever meal number 3 is. And it's getting close to bedtime. So I got 2 more big ass meals. I might even just make a big bowl of something and then snack on it for a while and then go to bed. I am well within my calorie goals so far, which that's good for me. So let's cut to meal number 3.